Hey there. For something that's been standing for over 4,500 years, you'd think we'd have it all figured out. But the Great Pyramid of Giza, it still holds this massive mystery. How in the world did they build it? That's what we're gonna dig into.
Okay, to really get a sense of the scale here, let's start with a number, 2.3 million. That's how many massive stone blocks make up the Great Pyramid. And we're not talking about little bricks here. Many of these weigh more than your car. Some of the granite beams way deep inside, they can weigh up to 80 tons. That's insane.
So that's the big question, right? How do you move 2.3 million of these giant stones when all you've got is like copper tools, wood, and a whole lot of human muscle? No cranes, no trucks, nothing. It's an engineering puzzle that has led to some pretty out there theories over the years.
All right, let's tackle this pyramid problem head on. We're gonna start by looking at a kind of fringe idea, then dive into a really cool modern theory, and stick around, because we're gonna end with some actual mind-blowing eyewitness evidence that changes how we see the whole thing. So let's get into one of the more creative ideas out there. This one comes from a guy named Joseph David Ovitz, and he basically said, what if they didn't move the stones at all? His theory is that the Egyptians basically invented an ancient form of concrete. They weren't lifting giant solid blocks. They were supposedly hauling buckets of limestone sludge up the pyramid and pouring it into molds right there on site. Okay, so were the stones poured? Could the pyramids really be the world's first giant concrete structures? Let's take a hard look at this geopolymer idea. The theory goes like this. You take limestone, you crush it into a powder, you mix it up with water and some other stuff, and then you just carry it up in buckets and pour it into molds. In theory, this solves the whole heavy lifting problem and explains how they got the blocks to fit so perfectly. But does it actually make sense when you think about it?
And, well, this is where the whole idea kind of falls apart. Look at this. The claim is that moving giant stones was just too difficult. The rebuttal from archaeologists? Making concrete on that scale would have been even harder. You still have to get all that limestone powder up there, plus you have to haul massive amounts of water. You're not actually saving any work. You're just adding a bunch of really complicated steps.
And here's the real kicker. If you're gonna pour 2.3 million blocks, you need molds, right? Thousands and thousands of them. And yet, after all the digging that's been done at Giza, we've found exactly zero. Not a single mold, no mixing vats, nothing. There's just no physical evidence for it.
And at the end of the day, there's just a simple human element to this. Think about it. Why build something so huge to show off? It was a statement of power, of mastering the natural world. Using fake stones, basically concrete, would kind of defeat the whole purpose. The whole point of being grandiose is to actually be grandiose. Okay, so if the stones weren't poured, we're back to the original question. How did they lift them? Well, this brings us to a much more believable idea, one that actually works with the evidence we have. Let's talk about the possibility of a ramp from within. This idea comes from a French architect named Jean-Pierre Houghton, and what he did was pretty cool. He didn't just guess, he used powerful 3D modeling software. We're talking the same stuff used to design modern jets to try and reverse engineer the whole process. He literally spent years building the pyramid on his computer just to see how it could have been done.
And what he came up with is just brilliant. It's a two-phase plan. For phase one, you build a big straight ramp on the outside to get the bottom third of the pyramid done, the really heavy lifting. But then, for phase two, you build a spiral ramp inside the pyramid as you go up. And the best part? You use the stones from that first external ramp to build the upper levels. It's so smart because it explains why we've never found the remains of some gigantic ramp. It's because it's still inside the pyramid.
Now, I gotta be fair, not everyone is sold on this. Some experts, like Egyptologist David Jeffries, think it's just far-fetched and horribly complicated. And look, it is just a theory, a really good one, but we don't have that smoking gun proof. Or do we? What if I told you we found an eyewitness account?
Okay, this is where the story gets absolutely amazing. Fast forward to 2013. A team of archaeologists is digging at this ancient port on the Red Sea, and they find something that just blows the doors off everything we thought we knew. They found this, the Journal of Mer. This isn't just old, it's the oldest papyrus ever discovered in Egypt. It's a 4,500-year-old logbook, a diary, kept by a guy who was a middle manager on the Great Pyramid construction project, an actual account from someone who was there. So here's the deal with Mer's journal.
It doesn't tell us how they lifted the blocks up high. But what it does do, in incredible detail, is explain how they got the stones to the construction site in the first place. It solves the transportation puzzle.
And the details in this thing are just jaw-dropping. This guy, Mir, he was an inspector, and he was in charge of a crew of about 40 sailors. His diary tracks their trips. They'd sail to the quarries at Tura to pick up these beautiful white limestone blocks, the ones for the outer shell. Then they'd use boats on the Nile, and get this, a whole system of man-made canals to bring the stones right up to a port at the base of the Giza Plateau. They even had a name for it, the entrance to the Pool of Khufu. This wasn't some random job, it was a highly organized operation, overseen by the pharaoh's own half-brother, the vizier Ungha. Because the logbook is so specific, we can actually do the math on their productivity. Mer's little team of 40 guys, they could move about 200 of these huge blocks every single month. It wasn't magic or aliens, it was just incredibly efficient project management. So let's put all the pieces together. When you take the smart theories like the internal ramp and combine them with this real-world evidence from Mira's diary, the picture of how they did it becomes so much clearer.
And here's the main takeaway, the big reveal. There is no single secret to the pyramids. There was no one magic bullet. It was something way more impressive. A massive, brilliantly organized system. It was pure human ingenuity and some of the best project management the world had ever seen.
So, it all starts at the source. Step 1. You have specialized crews quarrying that high-quality limestone at Tura. These are the exact blocks Merriger and his team were sent to pick up.
Then, step 2, you transport it. And this is the part we know is true, thanks to Mer, a super efficient delivery system using boats and canals, basically a water-based conveyor belt, moving all that stone right to where it needed to be.
And finally, step 3, getting the blocks up. Now, we don't have a diary for this part, but a really sophisticated ramp system, maybe an internal one like Houdin imagined, is by far the most logical answer. It just fits.
So in the end, the secret wasn't some lost technology or, aliens. It was something so much more impressive. Human beings working together with incredible organization. And that really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If this is what they could achieve with the Great Pyramid, what other amazing things did this kind of ingenuity make possible all across the ancient world?